More on that. We are joined by Ahmed Kaballo, Sudan Affairs analyst and CEO and founder of African Stream. That is a pan-African digital media organisation. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Look, how desperate is the situation then in North Darfur, and is the Sudanese army literally clinging on in Al-Fashir to the bitter end?
Yes, extremely desperate. There's only 5 recorded places in the world where there's famine. Those 5 areas exist in the Darfur region. Zamzam, which is the largest refugee camp in that region, holding 500,000 refugees, is one of those areas. You know, people call it a refugee camp, and of course it is that. But if you look, there's not tents. There's people holding up pieces of cloth for their housing. There's no, the water supplies have been attacked by the RSF. The food supplies have been attacked by the RSF. And on top of that, there was only one functioning hospital. I wouldn't even call it a hospital, a medical facility in the Zamzam camp. Now, the aid workers of that medical facility have been shot dead. They were warned by the RSF paramilitary group to leave Zamzam camp. Of course, they couldn't leave because of the humanitarian situation was so dire. People, if they left them, they would leave them to die because people were on operation tables. So they did the heroic thing, and because of their heroism, it cost them their lives. Under international humanitarian law, ICC Rome Statute 1998, it is against international law to attack aid workers. But this RSF paramilitary genocidal group doesn't care about international humanitarian law, doesn't care about civilian lives, and doesn't care about, this so-called rival government that is trying to gain legitimacy on the international stage. What it wants is to consolidate the Darfur region and take Al-Fashir, which is the last remaining capital city in the Darfur region, which it doesn't already occupy, because of the losses in Khartoum. And this is in my opinion, this is the game plan all along. They want a Libyan-style division of the country, the Sudanese army to take the Khartoum state and most of the north and the central region, and then the RSF to take the west and south of the region. This would be a disaster for the people of Darfur and people of south of the Republic of Sudan, because the RSF has no regards for humanitarian law as described, and no regards for the people under their control.
And do you fear, Ahmed, that is exactly how it's going to play out? Because these two sides are locked in essentially a stalemate with two very powerful competing armies or fighting groups, if you like, and it doesn't appear that one can get the upper hand over the other.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's really important to have international pressure. This is a gun-for-hire mercenary group. When they committed their crimes in Darfur in 2003, it's because they were being funded, armed, and supported by the Sudanese army. Now they're committing their crimes in Darfur and the rest of Sudan. It's because they're being funded, supported by the United Arab Emirates and its client states in the region, like Chad, like Uganda, like Ethiopia, and also Kenya, where I reside. So what is needed is to cut off the supply routes. If you cut off the supply routes to the RSF, this war will end in a matter of months. But there is no real desire by the international community to do that. 3 months ago, the United States declared that there's a genocide happening committed by the RSF in the Darfur area. What has followed that? Has there been any concrete action against the UAE, which is a principal key ally for the United States in the Persian Gulf? No, there hasn't. So we need to stop talking that we want peace and start acting like we want peace. One phone call from Donald Trump telling the UAE to stop supplying arms and funds and logistical support to the RSF could end this war. And that's why it's so frustrating when people say, oh, we're at a stalemate, nothing can be done. Yes, something can be done. We need to cripple the supply line to the RSF, and this war will be over, and the people in the Zamzam refugee camps will be liberated, and the people of Darfur will be liberated, and the people of Sudan will be able to return home. They're languishing in refugee camps in Ethiopia. They're languishing in Egypt. All they want to do is return home, and they're sick and tired of these platitudes towards peace when they know it's very simple action to stop the fighting.
It is a brutal situation and a brutal civil war. Ahmed, we thank you very much indeed. We'll leave it there. Appreciate you joining us on the News Hour.